across our area. Those deep blue skies, maybe a few clouds out there, and temperatures that feel like how they should, honestly, for this part in early September, with daytime highs more so upper 70s to about near 80 degrees. So we'll call this a pretty pleasant stretch for us, especially as we get through the day today into tomorrow. But then once that cold front arrives Thursday, not only does it bring rain, it'll add some wind back to the forecast, and that wind will source in some much colder temperatures, unfortunately, just in time for the weekend. As for this afternoon, as we're beginning the afternoon, sure, we've got a few clouds out there, but for the most part, high pressure's in control. And so it's really helping to keep our weather pattern very quiet. If you're stepping out for lunch plans or maybe just an afternoon walk, temperatures right now are sitting about low to mid 70s all across the region. Do keep in mind, near lakeshore spots today will likely see a little bit of a lake breeze moving on shore. Doesn't necessarily dip your temperature significantly, but it may hold you more so into the mid 70s versus where some spots will be farther south later this afternoon. But again, no rain chance. This is going to be a pretty nice forecast as we are kind of getting back into the swing of things post the holiday weekend. I really don't foresee any issues with the forecast, at least as it stands for today. Tomorrow will likely look very similar to this, as temperatures then tonight eventually drop about mid 50s across the area, some lower 50s farther to the south as you get farther and farther away from the lake. We'll talk about how much that temperature will drop on the other side of that next big cold front coming up in just a few minutes.
Has been absolutely beautiful. I know a little cooler, right, than average, but I mean, nothing to complain about. Unfortunately, though, we got a little bit of rain to worry about.
Yeah, a little bit. And I won't say it's going to be a washout of a week either. I mean, this is really all coming out ahead of our next cold front, and that doesn't arrive for us until we get into your Thursday. So today, if you have plans out and about still, maybe this afternoon, this evening, same can be said for tomorrow. You largely shouldn't have to worry about a rain chance. I will say, with the caveat on tomorrow, we may have a couple just isolated showers to an isolated thunderstorm that develops as you're building in some of this moisture, and we get a little bit more heat back in the forecast as well. But your best chance for rain comes together late Wednesday night headed into Thursday, and that's all out ahead of this next front. You can actually see some of the rain up towards Minneapolis. This is eventually some of the moisture that's going to be working in with this next front, but it's still a ways away from here. We've got high pressure in control like it has been through most of the holiday weekend, and that's going to give us some very brilliantly blue skies, maybe a few of those fair weather clouds on the horizon, but that would be about it. Temperatures, because of all the sunshine through the morning, have already warmed back into the low to mid 70s across our area, so do anticipate another beautiful day once again. Temperatures expected upper 70s in many spots. If you're going to be near the lakeshore, though, a little bit of a lake breeze will likely help to keep that temperature down just by a couple of degrees. Nothing significant. This is honestly going to be a day that looks very similar to yesterday, maybe just a couple of degrees warmer, with temperatures, especially in some of our southern zones, possibly able to get near 80 degrees before it's all said and done. Now, as we go into tomorrow, temperatures will be even just a little bit warmer than where we were today. A lot of that has to do with an increasing southwesterly wind. So again, you're building in some heat, you're building in a little bit of that moisture. Some of the strongest of the winds will be associated with that next front on Thursday, but that's really when you start to notice the bigger changes with this forecast. You're building in better opportunity for rain, and you will notice timing on that, 8 a.m., you see that up in the top left corner, that's likely going to limit any severe potential we have, but it may not necessarily limit, say, any rumbles of thunder that you could hear with this next storm system. But again, the severe threat with it, very, very low. That's the good news for us. Just a couple spot showers we'll watch for tomorrow. Then as we gradually get into tomorrow night and early Thursday, you see that better moisture piling in. That's going to be your best rain chance early Thursday morning before we eventually start to dry things out by the afternoon. And then we'll start to see our next front taking shape late Friday headed into early Saturday. So yes, you get a little bit of an increase in the temperature Friday afternoon. It's not going to be much. It's going to also be pretty windy, but you're really going to source in that very fall-like feel by the time we get into the weekend with temperatures into the mid to upper 60s.